What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day in Car Mechanic Simulator with me, the Virtual Mechanic, and today's project, the Satsuma Amp GT from my summer car. This one was modded in by Axolotemen, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name there, buddy. It is a very cool one nonetheless. I've never played my summer car, but I get the gist of it. You build a car throughout the summer to have fun with, and this is definitely the kind of car you would do it to in the real world. Lovely little hatchback, small little car, not a lot of power. As you can see, a very small little engine in there. We are currently running it with the i4 double overhead camera turbocharged engine. We are going to swap this one, only 66 horsepower on that. We need just a little bit more than that. We're going to swap it up to the i4 double overhead camera BFM, which will have a bit more power. Probably not too much, though. We'll find out in just a little while, well, a little bit later on. But let's get this one started. In fact, before we jump in and get it started, did I get a good deal for this little Satsuma Amp GT? Looking fabulous. 136,000 kilometers. We got it from the half-decent auction house. Everything above 50% is looking all right, in all honesty. Did we get a good deal? Absolutely not. 22,233 is what I paid. Losing out on 5,200 before we even start. Oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to claw that back. We shall see. With this current sale value of 17,033, not the best. As I said, we're going to swap it out to the BFM engine, which means I'm taking off a turbocharger for the sake of a video. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. So we shall see moving forward. It is looking a little bit sorry for itself. The engine is very diddy in there. You can see it's got a big old turbo sat on there at the moment. But we are going to be swapping this one out to the BFM engine. Is it just me, or does that engine block look painted black? Just me? I don't think it is, but there we go. Looking pretty smart. Let's get this one over to the car wash. Let's get it started by giving it a good old wash. Here we are then in the car wash. Time to get this little Satsuma cleaned. Let's get you underneath the hose. Lovely and clean. It's not too bad. We can see that anyway. There wasn't a lot of dirt on it. It hasn't really changed anything at all, if I'm being honest. But we'll get the interior done. We'll get it back on the lift, and we'll get that little turbocharged engine ripped out of there, ready to swap out for the BFM. The car's up in the air with the lifter arms welded to the side of the vehicle, but we'll just ignore that for the moment. Let's get underneath and check for that oil pan. It's not very low, is it? The oil pan is there, though, so let's get all of that drained out. Over we go, and let's get you emptied out. Very close in the oil pan there. Out you go. It's not very bad, though, but quite clean, considering it's, what, 136,000 kilometers? These car oils are definitely getting cleaner and cleaner. But let's get you out of the way and let's start getting this engine ripped out. It is front-wheel drive, no drive shaft going down the back, so we do need to get these front wheels and these front drive axles off first. So I'm going to crack on with that. There you go, front wheels and front drive axles out. Let's get this front drive shaft out and then realise that I've quite obviously made a mistake in not taking the starter out first. So we need to go and get that out. Well, that was easy. Just have to remember to do it more often from the front. Out with this gearbox. Out you come. And just your one rusty bolt there. So not too bad. And that should be everything from the gearbox. I can't see any exhaust. Oh, there's a bit of exhaust. But it won't let me grab because of the turbocharger, which means it probably won't let me take the engine out. Let's find out and let's see if you do have to take that turbo out first. Over we go. And let's go and grab the crane. Get you up to the front. Get this hood opened up and see what it says. Yeah, I did think that was going to be the case. So we need to go down into here. And do we need to take... We don't need to take the cover off. We just need to get the weirdly bolted in turbo underneath there. And then maybe we should be able to pull it out. Let's give it a go. No, we still need to move a little bit more. Another front exhaust section. There we go. Just that piece there. Out you come. And now we should be able to remove that engine back on the ground. And let's see if we've got it this time. Out you come. That's the one. Finally, only took 3 or 4 attempts. I'm not even sure. It took more than it definitely should have. Let's jump in and see what we got going on inside this engine bay then. So we've got a radiator fan without a fan housing kit. I'm assuming it's not missing. There we go. Then we've got a coolant reservoir here. A lovely little battery here. And a brake servo over here. And I think that might be everything. Is that everything? That can't be everything. I must be missing something. No, that really does look like it's everything. We will jump down the back, though, and get that fuel pump out of there. Out you come. I can't believe that's everything. It looks like there's so much missing. Well, just so much more than less than there should be. But anyway, with liquids drained, only 2. Coolant reservoir and the brake servo. I really feel like there should be something else, but there isn't. Right-click, additional tools, a drain tool. Click and hold on the container. and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, a minute might have been a bit of an overstatement. It was about 10 seconds, but let's get it all ripped out anyway. Out you come with the brake servo, out you come with the coolant reservoir, and out you come with the radiator. Just the battery to take out. We know we've got to throw that one on charge, and that's everything from the engine bay. I'm shocked, I really am. We did have the front wheels on and the drive axles on, so these should be pretty complete, but we'll check. Rubber bushing. We've got the inner and outer tie rod. We've got the sway bar end link. We've got the lower suspension arm and the shock there, plus the bearing and the drive axle was in. So that side's all looking complete. Bushing, couldn't even see it. Bushing, bearing, and we know the drive axle was in and out of tie rod, sway bar end link, shock, and lower suspension arm. So the front is definitely all there. Let's get down the back with these wheels not poking through the floor, although they look like they were a minute ago. Let's just get you out and see what's going on. There we go. So we've got a bizarre rear end that I've never seen without a rear suspension piece, which is bizarre, but we've got the spring, we've got the shock, we've got a sway bar end link, even though we haven't got a sway bar. Nope, no sway bar, just the sway bar end link. A bit bizarre. We've got the hubcap and we've got the bearing. So it is all in there, which is fantastic. Let's just jump over to the other side and make sure springs, shock, the hub and the bearing are all in there as well, plus the rubber bushings in the two arms. They all there. They are all there. So I'm going to get the rest of this suspension all out. Nothing left in the engine bay. Normally I have to strip a fuse box, but we don't have to. Then I'm going to go dismantle that engine and get the new one built up and ready to go in. And then we're going to sort out the beautiful bodywork on this lovely Satsuma Amp. That's everything repaired, replaced, or upgraded, plus the new BFM engine built. Obviously, it's not in there, but I have dropped it in there to show that it's 98 horsepower instead of 66. But let's crack on and sort all this bodywork out for the Satsuma Amp. Let's just start getting it all off with the hood, off with the front end, if it would let me. There we go. We've got a front bumper down there. Let's get these floaty headlights out, just so they're not in the way. Front fenders, off you come, off you come. Is any of this part of it, or is it just all built into the framework? That's pretty cool if it is. We'll come back to it later. Off with the door, off with the windshield, rear body window, rear window. Then we got the trunk, rear bumper, and some lights here. What is that? Oh, they connect up. Oh, that's clever. That's actually pretty clever. I like that. Nothing else it looks like in there. Let's keep going around. Out you come and out you come. That theoretically should be everything, but I kind of already don't believe myself. So let's just get this interior out and then see where we end up. Out with these seats. Out you come. Out you go. Now, is that every... see, there we go. Car part 3's in there. Let's get you out. Any more parts in there? Car part 1 is the entire dashboard. What else have we got? Nothing else. Doesn't look like it. Let's have... Oh, there we go. Car part 2 is the rear parcel shelf. Could not say that then. There we go. Along with the backrest. Now, that might be everything. Let's have a double check. Don't want to be on that screen. 1%, that is a good sign. And then nothing on there. I did actually get everything. I'm quite pleased with myself. 59% on the frame, and I paid $22,000 for it. So I'm going to say... not a lot. I'm going to say 750. 550. Not far off at all. Let's check out the body tuning shop for this one, though. In we go to the Satsuma Amp. Now, we already saw that we could change the dashboard, so we can put any one of these 4 dashes in here. Car part 2, I think that was the rear parcel shelf, so maybe that can be changed out to some speakers in a sub. We'll have a play. Car part 3 was the floor or a roll cage, depending on what you want. Then we got multiple different bumper options, a couple of different front end options that look a bit like a spanner, but there we go. A couple of different door options. I don't really know the difference apart from a big old sticker on it. Okay, so now this... what is happening here? So you can have it with the internals visible? Is that going to be on the wrong way round? I don't know. We'll find out in a little while. Maybe some slightly wider fenders. They might be pretty cool. Different hood with a bit of a scoop on it. Definitely going to be putting that one on there. Tail lights, headlights, rear bumper, rear clamshell. I don't even remember taking a rear clamshell off. Then we've got spoilers on there as well. Rear windows, a few different options are there. And a couple of different trunk pieces. That seems to be it. So I'm going to play around with this and see what I like the look of. It might take me a little while. So I'll be back in a bit when we've decided what we're going to put together, what we're going to take over to the paint shop, and how we're going to paint this one today. Time to get this little Satsuma all back together. Let's just jump in. On with the hood. Obviously, I did go for the scooped hood there. looking pretty sweet. Fenders, I also went with these slightly wider fenders, give you a bit more of a kick at the front and the back there, looking pretty good. On we go. Front end, oh, if I could click it, front end was just the one that came off of it. It's the one with the GT on it. The headlights also just went back in, and I did swap the bumper out to the bumper E, which is a slightly bigger, longer bumper, giving you a bit less clearance at the front, should I say. In with the windshield will just get you in, and in fact, before we throw anything else in, for car part 3, I went for the roll cage in part D with the fire extinguisher there, just sitting in the front, looking good. The dashboard, I didn't go too fancy with the dashboard. I just kept it the original dashboard. I still think it looks good. And then down at the back, car part 2, we did the speakers and the amp down there, looking pretty smart. I think that's everything on the inside. With the doors, now the 4 different doors are a normal plain door and then a normal plain door with the door cards removed. Then you've got the door with the sticker on it, the number 90 sticker, and the door with the 90 sticker and the internal door car removed. So I didn't want any of that. I just want the normal doors on. So we're just throwing them back on, in with their mirrors as well. Mirrors, windows as well. There we go. Let's get you on this side. This car doesn't need mirrors. Where we're going, we don't need to see behind us. In we go, in we go. Rear window, you can see I put the louvered vents on there. I think they look pretty smart. And for the trunk, I swapped it in for trunk B because it actually says turbo. And our new engine does have a turbo in it. For the rear clamshell, we did go for option number C with the spoiler on there. Looking pretty good. And the lights, we just put them back in exactly as they were. As for the rear bumper, it's just there's 2 options. There's one without an exhaust piece and one with an exhaust piece. We do already have the exhaust, so we didn't want the exhaust piece. So we're just leaving it like that. That's most of it on the outside. We'll get the license plates on. Now I've just gone for Car Mechanic Simulator crossover with my summer car. There we go. On you go at the back, and we'll get one on at the front as well. And then we'll just jump into the interior, and then we'll double check if we have got everything. We've probably missed something. Swap the seats out for the 370Z seats, because why not? Kept the rear bench as it was, which was just the Over King bench. And put a Nissan Silvia steering wheel in there, just because I like it. It's a nice looking wheel. Looking pretty good. Is that everything? That's not the right screen. This one here, 100%, 100%, 100%. Absolutely fantastic. Let's get this little Satsuma over to the paint shop and see what liveries we've got to work with today. Here we are then, in the paint shop with the beautiful My Summer Car Satsuma Amp. Looking absolutely wonderful. This is the GT version. Let's check out the liveries. In slot number 1, we've got this beautiful green livery with the white striping and the GT detailing it down the side there. That looks pretty good. Slot number 2 is the base red that the car is already in, or this sort of orangey red colour with the white GT livery down the side with the black roof. Probably going to try and pit the louver vents here black along with that spoiler as well if I can. But this is probably what we're going to go for. So let's just get it on and then see what everything else looks like underneath. So if we then open this hood, what colour are we in there? Okay, we are red. I don't want to be red in there. I feel like we can do this with a black interior. So let's just go onto a black, then into the livery and go for that one and press go on there. And then now let's have a look. We open this engine bay up. It should be very black. Let's have a look. That is very black. Now we can use a lot of red and white in there, and maybe with some chrome as well. That's going to be pretty epic. That's what I'm going to go for. That's the base of the car done. As I said, I'm going to try and take these louvers off and paint them black along with this spoiler as well. Try and get a bit of red on these front seats, maybe a little bit on the bench if I can, and maybe something on the steering wheel. And the engine itself is going to be pretty much red and white, I reckon, with as little black as I can get away with. And if it is too black, maybe I'll change the engine bay to white and we'll go red and black on the engine with a white engine bay. We shall see how it turns out a little bit later on. This is what we're going to go for so far. Probably red and black suspension as well, or black and red and white suspension. One of the two. It depends how things start painting, because we do have my least favorite paintable engine today. So we'll have to see how that works with painting some of the bits. I'm going to get on, start getting some stuff painted. I'll talk you more through when we're a little bit further on. Next up, we'll be on the stand, ready to throw the suspension all back together. We've got everything painted, ready to go back on the lovely little Satsuma Amp GT. You can see the louvers are now black, the spoiler is now black, and I've whipped all the interior out because I've given it a little bit of colour in with that rear bench. You can just see the seatbelt clips just in a sort of orangey red there. And then our Nismo seats have got that centerpiece all coloured in, looking lovely. And then our Sylvia steering wheel has got that reddy orange lightning strike down the centre, looking absolutely incredible. Very pleased with them. But let's get it up in the air. I shouldn't really show you this, but I'm going to. White shocks. Then they are chrome coloured, so you won't see them on the spring puller. You can see they just look normal chrome, not the colour that's actually on them. To see that, we need to start getting it all together, so let's crack on. We've got the front suspension cross member in that reddy orangey colour, chromed out because, yeah, the normal one was a little bit too dull, and I didn't like it that much, so we went with a chromed out effect. The steering rack is in a white, and the sway bar is also in a white, with the front steering knuckle in that chrome reddy orange colour, looking great. Lower suspension arm just in a white there, looking pretty good. And then we've got our inner and outer tie rod just chromed out, nothing else on there, just chrome and no other colour, looking special. Let's get the shock on now. You'll be able to see it with some colour in. You can see that lovely colour on the shock there, looking beautiful. The sway bar end link's got the same colour on it. And then we've got the front axle knuckle cover in a white, the front wheel hub in that same reddy orange colour, which I really do think looks fantastic. Let's get the hub bearing in, the brake pad on, and then we've got a chromed out brake caliper again. All of that looking absolutely fantastic today. Really pleased with that. It is a front wheel drive, so we've got a front drive shaft going through there later on once we get the gearbox in. But that's looking pretty smart. Let's jump down the back and get this all together as well. Same colour of that reddy colour on the front knuckle there, the rear knuckle there, sorry. Wheel hub in the white, the same, but let's go on around. The rear upper suspension arm is in that sort of chromed out red colour, looking great. The bottom suspension arm is just in a white here. There we go. And then we've got a bushing to go over this side with another arm on there, just in the white to match that other one. Looking pretty good. And if we swing all the way around, the spring cap is in black. We're doing opposite to the front spring there with the spring in that reddy orangey colour. Looking good. Black spring cap, and then the shock absorber itself is in a white, so it does sort of match the front. Then this pokey outy arm here, also in that reddy orange colour. Look, I love this colour. It looks absolutely beautiful in this chrome finish. Really am pleased with it. We do have a sway bar end link, even though we don't have a sway bar in the matching colour. Drum brake cylinder, then we've got the rear wheel hub in that lovely colour as well. It is a fantastic colour. No idea what colour it is. Just a reddy orange is what we're going to call it. And the brake drum also in that reddy orange, with a hub bearing just in there to finish that one off. And a white hubcap to go on top. Probably going to end up with white wheels. Maybe. We'll see. But that's about that all finished. We'll come back and get the rest in a little bit later on. I'm going to do my fuel tank in black with the fuel pump probably just in the black as well. I haven't painted them yet, so they're not going on. I'll get the rest of this finished, and we'll sort out the engine bay, and we'll also get that fuel tank in there as well in a bit. See you in a sec. Still no idea what to call this colour, but it looks absolutely beautiful. Reddy orange, very metallic reddy orange on the suspension there. Looking absolutely fantastic with quite a few splashes of white and a little bit of black down there as well. We did the black fuel tank with a white fuel pump in the end. Looking pretty smart, but we do need to move on. We do need to get the engine bay finished. There we go, words I was looking for. Coolant reservoir in you go, a battery in you go, brake servo in you go. And then we've got the radiator here, which is in that metallic-y finished reddy orangey colour. Looking absolutely fantastic. That is literally the engine bay done. No fuse box or anything this time. Looking pretty good. If we just pop our heads in there, there's a few pieces in there that come with the frame. Looking pretty smart. It's very blacked out in there, just how I wanted it. Looking fantastic. Loving that, though. We need to move on. Let's go and get the beautiful i4. Well, I don't even know which engine we put in it now. I can't remember. i4 double overhead cam BFM engine. Let's go get that built up and ready to be dropped into our Satsuma Amp. Let's crack on and get this inline 4 BFM engine ready to go. Let's just get started. You can see we've just done the main block in a chrome with the normal finish of the reddy orangey colour on the oil pan underneath there. Let's just get a few of these pieces on. We'll start with the water pump. I haven't painted it because it is going to be under a cover along with this roller here. I've got to make sure that isn't painted. There we go, not painted. The alternator in its base chrome along with the power steering pump also in its base chrome there. Looking fantastic, all matched up. The oil filter is in a black and a reddy orange combination. Looking pretty smart. We've got the fuel filter over here just in a white. Wanted to throw a splash of white up here. And then the engine head on you go is in that metallic-y finished red-orange, and really, really loving that. It looks absolutely fantastic. We got another idle roller just up here on Yugo, not coloured. And we can get the rest in just a little while. What we've got to do up here is we've got camshafts to go in, we've got spark plugs to go in, and we've also got camshaft caps to go on there as well. So I'm going to get all of them finished off, and I'll be back in just a minute. Last cap just going in. That's that all taken care of. We'll come back to the head cover in a minute. Let's just get this front end all finished off with the cam gear. We should also have a serpentine belt in there and another little belt tensioner just down here. All going to be covered up, so we didn't need to colour any of it because we've got this chrome-covered timing cover. Chrome-coloured timing cover on there. Looking absolutely fantastic. Struggling with the English language again. I'm sure it will never change. The crankshaft pulley just in a black. And then we've got a little belt down here coloured in so you can't see it. And then the coloured idle roller just there to finish all of that off. We'll go back up. We've got the engine head cover to put on. We'll put that one in a chrome finish. Looking great on top of that. I love this colour. I really do. It looks absolutely stunning. If we just nip around back here, we've got a cam gear that we need to throw on. Then a timing chain and then another cam gear just over here. In we go with a beautiful coloured cover on top in that chrome colouring again. Loving that. Looking fantastic. Intake manifold doesn't really colour that well, so we chromed it. If in doubt, chrome it out. In fact, no, that isn't chromed, is it? I think that's got a pearl finish on it. Sort of matches in, but ever so slightly different. We didn't chrome that in the end. I tried chroming and it was too much. Fuel injectors underneath you go, just in the white there. Looking pretty good. Nip around to the other side to get that last one in. And then we got a throttle on here, also in a solid white, just to finish that bit off with an extra splash of white there. Looking fantastic. These ignition coils, now these are really hard to paint, even with the quality of life mod. You can chrome them, but then I didn't know what colour, so I just blacked them out on top of here. I think it looks pretty good. We're going to blend them in. You won't even notice they're there, really, if I'm being honest. Then we've got the exhaust manifold just chromed out. The whole exhaust is completely just in a normal chrome. Apart from this one piece here, the turbocharger, which is in a chromed out, that reddy orange colour. Looking absolutely fantastic. I'm loving that. That is the engine pretty much built. I'm confident we'll have a few more pieces to put on once we stick it in the car. But I'm going to grab some pictures. Then we'll get it dropped in and see what else we need. This engine just looks tiny on that stand. It's probably going to look quite small inside the car as well. But I'm loving the colour and look of this one today. Let's get it dropped in and see how good it looks inside our beautiful little Satsuma Amp. In you go. Hopefully this is going to look pretty epic. We can't see it because the hood's in the way. There it is. Oh, that looks beautiful down there. Very pleased with that. In fact, I really like the chrome and metallic finish of it. That's looking stunning. Very, very pleased with that. We do need to start up here, though, and get... Oh, we can't get the starter until the gearbox is in. The one time I remember it, and we can't actually do it until the gearbox is in anyway. So never mind. Back up in the air, the car goes. Let's get this gearbox in and ready to go. I can't get anywhere. There we go. Couldn't move any further forward. The gearbox is in that lovely chromed out colour there. Looking absolutely stunning. Very pleased with that. Then we've got the front drive shaft just in a solid white. And then we've got the front drive axles in that beautiful colour. I really am loving that colour. Still no idea what to call it. Reddy orange. It just looks fantastic. The rest of the exhaust is all chromed out, as I said it was earlier. Let's just get it all in. In you go. In you go. And where are we? Two more pieces. One here and one just down there at the back. The rear muffler looking fantastic. Very pleased with that, but we do need to get the starter in. So let's try and squeeze out from underneath this car that is a bit too high up. Sorry, not quite high enough, should I say. And let's squeeze in and get the starter in wherever you are. There you go. In front of the radiator, behind the radiator, just in a white. Just finishing that one off there. And that should be everything for this engine. I'm hoping it is. We'll find out in a bit when we're outside trying to start it up. But I need to get some wheels done. Now, obviously, the original size wheels are tiny. And we've now got a bit of flare on here, so we're a bit wider. So they're not going to cut it. We're going to have to figure out what size wheels to throw on this one. Once I figured that out, we'll be outside in the sun with the beautiful Satsuma Amp GT all finished off. Here we are then, all finished with the beautiful Satsuma Amp GT by Axolotemen. Oh, sorry, however you pronounce your name. I do apologise if I've absolutely butchered that. But you've made a beautiful looking mod. If you want to grab this one yourself, link in the description below, or just head over to the Steam Workshop and search Satsuma Amp. It will definitely come up. This one has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this tiny little car with almost no power. We've increased it a little bit up to 98. Obviously, we haven't dynoed it yet with our performance part, so it might go up a little bit higher. But let's just quickly talk about these rims. I went for the 1A, my favorite rim. You do see them everywhere on this channel in a lovely little black and white combination with that chrome brake caliper sticking up through there in a body colored paint, looking fantastic. I've definitely increased the wheel size on this one, although it doesn't fill out this wheel well too much. I didn't want to make the front wheels bigger than the rear wheels, so these front wheels are a 16-inch rim with a 245 width, bringing it out massively, and a 35 profile on these ones here. The rears are exactly the same size, 16-inch, 245 with a 35 profile. Now, the original rims that were meant to come on it were 125 width with an 85 profile and a 13-inch rim, so definitely gone up quite considerably on them, especially with these extra wide little fender flares on there. This really does look beautiful. I've never looked inside the trunk. There's a NOS tank in here. That's fantastic. Little amp and speakers that we put in as part of the bodywork on there. Looking pretty fancy, and just back underneath this hood, that looks absolutely stunning in there. Very, very pleased with that engine. But let's jump in, check out the interior, including my painted seats there. Looking pretty awesome. In we go, looking good. The steering wheel angle feels a little off. I suppose it's a bit like a trucker steering wheel. But apart from that, it looks beautiful in here. I love the fuzzy dice, old school dashboard. And there is a few different dashboard options you can play with. I just went with the basic one rather than a sticker bombed looking one or a bright pink one. Didn't fancy that today, but looking pretty cool in here. Let's get this one started and hear the BFM engine once more. We've all heard this engine before. We know I like it because it's got a turbo. There it is, that beautiful turbo whistle. Still quite a mean sounding engine. Not much on the tick over, you can barely even hear it, but it does give a bit of a mean sound when you go further up, especially with that turbo whistle. Let's head over to the dyno though and see what this one's drag rating is going to be today. I don't imagine very high, and what obviously the horsepower is. Here we are then on the dyno with our little Satsuma Amp GT. It's got an i4 BFM double overhead cam engine in it with 98 factory horsepower. We have put loads of performance parts on today. What have we ended up with, and what is our drag rating? Let's have a look. A gain of 61 horsepower, 62%, not too bad, from 98 starting up to 158 horsepower. This isn't going to be a speederboard crusher like the old Batmobile, with a drag rating of C288, definitely the lowest I think I'm going to see for a good little while. I imagine I probably won't see lower than that, maybe ever, but we'll find out later as we move on. Let's have a look at the gearbox tuning setup for this one today. Here it is, a 3.75 ratio, 56 in first gear, up to 262 in fifth gear. We don't have an ECU and we don't have any carbs, so no other tuning on this one. This is what it is. Let's head over to the drag strip and do a very slow drag tournament. Here we are then, back at June Way Raceway. Love that. Onto the drag strip, King of the Sands competition. We're going to stick with the 1 mile, but we are only in a C class. Only 600 to enter this one. We've got to bear that in mind. Let's go. What are we up against? We got some Tempest Magnums, Plymouth Roadrunners. Quite a good variety in here, and I like that. I think that's going to be pretty good. We should just jump in because this is going to be quite slow. Here we are then on the drag strip with our first opponent and the Bolthorn Grand Moave. I'm sure I probably said that wrong. I've never built that one before, so maybe that's one we should build in the future. But let's just jump inside and see if we can beat this one down the drag strip with our little Satsuma Amp. Let's go. Off the line, we get away into second, into third. Now, this has got a very weird thing that happens in the fourth gear, so let's just get into fourth and let it start happening. We get an incredible speed wobble, and we're going to lose the first race. I don't believe it. We're actually going to lose this. Never mind. This car is pretty slow. We'll just do a couple more against some random opponents and see where we end up. We're already 600 credits down before we even start. We'll just do 2 more runs and see what we can get out of this little beast. Very much wobbling, though. You can see that all over the shop. It does wobble like a madman. Let's see where we ended up. A 13.144 versus a 12.821 from the Bolthorn Grand Moave, or however you say that. 35.383 up to the 1 mile versus the 31.422. Definitely got our ass handed to us. 202 kilometers an hour was our finishing speed there. Not great at all. Let's just get a couple more in. The rule I've decided is 3 randoms, and then we'll see where we end up. So 1, 2, 3. Our first race is against the Luxor Bowen. Only a C277. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can win this one. Let's get into it. Here we are then, against that very mean-looking Luxor Bowen. Let's just jump in. Let's just get this one going, because they are quite long races. In we go. Can we win? Off the line, we got away into second, into third. Hopefully, we can win this one. Come on, into fourth, and then we start wobbling like absolute crazy. And I had an ex-girlfriend's car who used to do this. Probably not at the same speed, but just wobble like mad. We're going to lose again. I don't believe it. We just can't win in this car. It doesn't have the top end. And this wobble where you have to keep counterbalancing it, definitely it doesn't help. But let's see what we can cross the line at. 202 is the last one. Can we beat that? Hopefully. Oh my God, we didn't even change into 5th gear. We've definitely beaten that this time at 209. That looked like it was 209. 13.043, so that is a quicker run so far. That's pretty good. 35.242, also a quicker run and a higher top speed. So although we lost, which is a bit of a shame, I never expected to win anything with this car. Not a bad time. Last one then, let's get 3 randoms in again. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to end up against a G-Wagon. Oh, I do love that. What is this? The AMG. This could be quite difficult. It's got a twin-turbo all-wheel drive engine. Let's see if we can actually manage to beat this one. A lovely red G-Wagon there. Are we going to beat this one down the strip? I don't imagine so. We're going to lose 3 for 3. Fingers crossed we don't. Let's jump back inside. Let's get this one going. Come on, little car. You can do it. Off the line, into second. Lovely little turbo whistle there. Into third. And is that AMG just going to pull away from us like I imagine it will out the window? Oh, we are pulling, but we are starting to get our wobble now. Got to keep it straight. Got to keep it straight. Got to remember to change into 5th gear as well. Come on, little car, into 5th. Oh, we're going to hit the wall. Don't hit the wall. There we go. Wobbling a little bit, but I do think we are still in the lead. I'm not brave enough. There we go. We are. Oh, no, it's catching us. We are going to lose at the last strip, I think. Yep, there we go. Off you go, G-Wagon. Such a shame to only just lose that one by the tightest of margins. Although we did win the quarter of a mile, 13.067. Definitely our fastest one yet against 13.268. 34.711, still incredibly slow, but our fastest one of the day. And we finished with a speed of 217 kilometers an hour. So we did lose all 3, sadly, and we lost 600 credits for entering a tournament that we just had no chance of winning, really. But not bad. Let's get this one onto the speederboard, the final spot for the 10th. And then things are going to start getting knocked off, starting with the Satsuma Amp, with the very next build, I imagine. So let's get back to the shop. Well, there it is. We've had 10 cars since the drag racing DLC has come out. Pretty epic. The Satsuma Amp GT coming in last place. I mean, 10th place on the speederboard. 158 horsepower. 13.067 to the quarter of a mile, which was our last run, which wasn't quite our quickest. We did have a 13.043, but the rest of the stats are all much higher for that last run. 34.711. The same run, we got the quarter of a mile in 13.043. We did 35.242. So I figure we'll keep that one, and 217 kilometers an hour, which is 135 miles per hour, the fastest we got out of the Satsuma Amp. Before that, in our fastest run to the quarter mile, it was only 209 kilometers an hour. So this is the one we've marked it down as. Definitely not the quickest car in the world. But anyway, it was a lot of fun to build. I definitely enjoyed the build. Let's go and see it one last time before we say goodbye. There she is, looking beautiful. Love the look of that engine. Shame it just hasn't got the power anywhere near to match it. The interior in there looks absolutely fantastic. Really have enjoyed this build. A lot of little elements, lots of different things you can edit to make yours slightly different to others. We've got the amp and speakers in ours in the trunk there, looking fantastic. This has really been a glorious build, but can we make a profit from it? If you stuck around for long enough at the beginning, you'd know that I bought the car for 22,233, which is definitely way too much to pay for this one. But we did spend another 46,202 on it, getting it to this point right here, which is definitely, again, too much. Putting our total spend at 68,435. Can we make a profit from this little My Summer car? transferred into Car Mechanic Simulator. Let's have a jump in. Let's find out. 136,000 kilometers on it. We did have to put a little bit more on it just for some testing, but not too much at all. It is all 100% complete now with 158 horsepower instead of the 98 it started with, a gain of 62%. Not too bad considering we're talking very, very low numbers with this one. But can we make a profit? 68,435 is what we need to beat. And we cannot. We can't actually make a profit from this one. 60,476 is what we could sell it for. Losing out on 7,959. I told you we needed to win a drag tournament to get this one back. I did say that at the beginning. I didn't think it was going to happen. Also, we entered a drag tournament. That cost us 600, which we sadly lost in the first round. So we didn't get any money from that. So our total loss for the day for the Satsuma Amp is a minus 8,559. Such a shame. This is a fabulous car to build. Absolute joy to work on. Axolotemen. I do, again, apologise if I butchered your name. Beautiful car you've done there. Absolutely fantastic job. Link in the description below to go and grab this one yourself. Time for us to say goodbye to the Satsuma Amp and losing out on just over 8,500. A bit of a shame, but there we go. Off you go. What have we got up next? Well, it is competition entry time. So this is what I'm entering into the next one. This is the Smith & Parker Outlaw. It's already got a bit of a flaming livery on it, kind of what we've got going on, but we do have some more details on this one. You can see it isn't quite the same. The engine's at a bit of an angle there. The car's dropped down just a little bit, looking beautiful. Smith & Parker Outlaw, the VM Dragster. This is what we're going to be working on. We got it from the terrible auction house, and it is in awful condition, and I'm quite happy with that. We've got ours in it, a 2-carb overhead valve supercharged engine, which we will be keeping 576 factory horsepower on that one. We will be putting performance parts on it to try and boost that one up as much as we can. But did we get a good deal? We did. Wow, from the bad auction house as well. 12,869 is what I paid, and I could sell it for 16,163, making a profit of 3,294 before we start. That doesn't happen very often. This is going to be for next time, though. Definitely going to have a lot of fun at working on this. This engine will have an ECU to tune and carbs to tune, and there's a few other parts in there as well. It's going to be epic. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend, whatever you got up to, and did enjoy your Monday. Most people don't enjoy Mondays, but try to. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you can subscribe, please subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.